when you start getting into like Memento, people have a hard time following because it's not chronological.
Yes.
So if you don't have that thought capacity to like, all right, let me hold on to these things because they're going to be
Yeah.
important. Like he kind of gives you that basis. Like this is going to be these are the important parts of how the story translates.
He
So
uses the same tools in Memento that he uses in this movie also. With we're going to break it down. His black and white usage and his color usage in Memento are significant. That tells you if it's a flashback or if it's going forward. The
right.
same thing he utilizes in this movie with the color red and the color
And color
blue.
blue.
It
Mm-hmm.
gives you those hints. So, like, he uses tools to give you those hints. They're like little nuggets for geeks like us, like to just
Right.
latch on to. I saw Tenet twice. I
Yeah.
went yesterday to watch it again.
God damn. I saw it yesterday. I think I'm gonna see it again.
Listen,
I
if I tell you that I went in there with the mind that watching it a second time was going to clarify it all.
right. Yeah, yeah.
It didn't clarify. It just
Nothing.
I might have clarified a couple of things and then
Yeah.
added a whole bunch more questions. So there's more questions
Oh
than I
man.
came in with.
All right, cool. Because I mean, I got a million and one hypotheses
We
and
gotta
stuff.
throw it out on this
All right,
episode.
cool, cool,
All
cool.
right, Joe. So let's just jump in.
All
I'm
right.
no Justin, no Peace.
And I'm Lou
And
Rivers.
we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because we sit down and we fire off our opinions on today's pop culture,
What else?
politics,
What else?
movies, and TV, and how they all intersect. And oh, baby, do we have a good episode for you
Oh, we
guys.
got a good one.
All right. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, this was the first time we were back at the theaters. Round of applause.
Ooh, ooh, we made it. We made it.
Listen, we made it through preliminary COVID. Everything got shut down. As you know, on our show, we were going out to the movies every week. We weren't doing the streaming stuff. We were going out
Right.
to the movies. We were watching these movies, and we were giving you our opinions on it. We were breaking them down. We haven't been able to do that, so we were doing some other things. But this was a movie that you have to see in the theaters.
Whew.
Like I knew that from the beginning. I knew that before I went and saw it. But this is a movie this is one of those return movies that you need to see in the theaters.
Right.
And I mean, let's start with our first opinions. Like for me, it did not disappoint.
No. Man, cinematically, he's by far one of the best.
Yes.
Like just watching the coordination, the shots, everything he's pretty phenomenal.
Pretty fun. If you guys don't know what we're talking about Christopher Nolan. His movie Tenet just dropped in the theaters earlier this week. This episode, if you guys are watching it right now, that means it's probably Friday or after. The movie is out in the theaters right now. Hopefully you watched it already because we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to throw out some questions that we have, some burning questions. Maybe we can answer each other's questions, maybe not, but we want you guys to engage. So, listen, Christopher Nolan has a history of
Yes.
making absolutely complex, confusing, great pieces of art.
True indeed.
Great pieces
True.
of art. Like from Memento. Like I mean, and that wasn't his
Whew.
first one, but that's his first big one where everybody talks about. They talk about Memento. And
Yes.
then I don't even know like the full trajectory, but I don't think anything has ever been like straightforward. We have Memento,
The Batman trilogy.
the Batman trilogy. I mean, well, that's more straightforward than
Yeah.
out of all of his movies. But then you have Prestige,
Yes.
which was a mind
Whew.
scramble.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yes.
I waited a long time before I watched Prestige, and somebody at work was like, "Oh, hey, if you checked out Prestige, if you like Christopher Nolan," I was like, "No, I haven't checked it out." And man, I was like, "This is not disappointing at all. It's different, but not disappointing," and I enjoyed it. We had Prestige, and then everybody's big one. They talk about Inception.
Inception. Mm-hmm.
Because that's just like it has such bigness. It has Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It has what's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Ben Watanabe.
Yes. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Who else?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Oh, what's her name? Juno. It has Juno in it.
Yes, it does.
Ellen Page. I'll give her
Yeah.
respect. But
Okay.
like all of that movie, I feel like still nobody's attempted to make a complex movie like this. But like that movie, just the idea that you can tackle a person's mind
Hmm.
and their just need for adrenaline and do all the things that movies do great. Like the music is great, the visuals were great, pushing the boundaries of your mind. I'm just here for it. I'm in for it.
Right.
Inception worked. Even if you didn't understand Inception, you at least enjoyed the movie. Now,
Right.
then he hit you with Interstellar.
Whew. Yeah.
Visually, Interstellar is beautiful. Again,
Yes.
another mind bender. You go into
Amazing.
YouTube vortex. There's books about specifically the science in that movie, the theoretical physics that is in that movie, written by Kip Thorne, and
Hmm.
I loved it. But that kind of loses some people because
Right.
it's a little bit slower than Inception. But this is like if James Bond was written by a smart person. Like,
Yes, yo. I, I think honestly, like looking at his track record, all his movies.
yeah.
If Dunkirk is great, for
Ooh,
visualization.
I left out Dunkirk.
You left out Dunkirk. Um, but honestly, I feel like Prestige and Inception are, the two movies that people can grasp onto
Yeah,
with logic
yeah,
that
yeah,
isn't far off on the deep end.
yeah,
But I mean, when you start getting into like Memento, people have a hard time following because it's not chronological.
yes,
So if you don't have that thought capacity to like, all right, let me hold on to these things because they're going to be
yeah.
important. Like he kind of gives you that basis. Like this is going to be these are the important parts of how the story translates.
He
So
uses the same tools in Memento that he uses in this movie. Also, with we're gonna break it down. His black and white usage and his color usage in Memento are significant. That tells you if it's a flashback or if it's going forward. The
right.
same thing he utilizes in this movie with the color red and the color
And color
blue.
blue.
It
Mhm.
gives you those hints. So like he uses tools to give you those hints. They're like little nuggets for geeks like us, like to just
Right.
latch on to. It's not
Right.
for
Did you catch
everybody.
that? Like, did you catch
Did you
that?
get that, guys?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
get that? But
Yeah. Interstellar is
yeah,
definitely that for me, where I'm like linear with it. I can keep going down the rabbit hole and keep
yes,
going and keep going and keep
yes.
going.
I mean,
It's not for a lot of people.
Inception. Everyone has dreams, so like
Right.
that is your that's your connection to everything. That's his connection to
Mhm.
everybody. Everybody has dreams, so you automatically feel like you understand more about this picture than you do anything else. Not everybody's been into outer space. You know what I mean? Who knew?
You're right.
Who
Yeah, you're
knew
right.
that everybody's been to outer space? Not everybody's been on a spaceship. Not everybody understands all of these things. But
You're
I
right.
mean, I loved it, dog. I loved it.
Yeah. The tough part is for people who don't have the capacity to think outside the foundation of time.
Mm,
And this is so difficult for the majority of people to see
yes.
time removed, and
Yes.
this movie, if you can't grasp the idea that time is a structure in itself
Yes.
and it could play by itself and
Yes.
not with you, like this movie's going to be too complex for you
He
to just be
slaps you
like,
in the movie with people's. They tell you, they said, listen, if you're gonna keep thinking about time in a linear way, like just get off the helicopter now,
right.
because this is not it, dog. If you keep
Right.
thinking about it linear, that's it. Like get on out of here.
Right.
It's a
Exactly.
unit. It's a unit. It's how we count. Just like you can have milliliters and liters, like it's a
Right.
unit of measurement. So like that unit of measurement is created.
Right.
It's a, all right. So let's just break down a little bit of the movie, just a little
Okay.
tiny bit of the movie. We have a guy John David Washington. He's a,
Yes.
a CIA spy,
Right.
He's a
Yes.
CIA spy
He's a
who
CIA operative. Yeah,
he's a
definitely.
CIA operative who gets recruited by this this
Organization.
organization
Sort of organization.
from the future. Are we telling too much? Technically, the organization exists in the future,
Right.
but they
Going back in time to recruit people to
to recruit
establish the organization.
to establish the organization. Yo,
Right.
yes, yes. This is okay. When after I was like sitting down and thinking about it, I'm like, is it connected to Terminator? Like, it has its not like connected to the actual movie, but it has a Terminator-ish. It has a smarter Terminator. It almost explains more than Terminator has ever explained.
Right. So the thing that I got from it is this is this connection to Inception, and why I was like, all right, I can get on this
Yeah.
is because everything is a paradox.
Mm-hmm.
So remember when Joseph Gordon-Levitt is speaking to Ellen Page about the paradox about
Yes.
walking
The
over.
yes.
So it's like the same thing. This part was about the grandfather paradox,
Yes.
and if you go back in time and kill your grandfather,
Do you no
do
longer
you
exist?
right? Exactly, and a lot of people aren't going to get that or understand it, but
Yes.
that's the concept of it: is that if you go back in time and undo what has already been done,
Yes.
how can that happen? And
Yes.
that's the paradox. There's no, oh well, this is how it happens, or this is not how it happens. That's the paradox. You don't
Yes.
know, you
But
know.
they kind of explain it because then they go on to say that was it Rob Pattinson, what's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. His character ends up explaining, everything that happens
Mm-hmm.
happens. And
Right.
we see that in the movie because it still happens. Even
Right.
when they attempt to change something, the thing happens. Even if they change the
Change it.
thing from
Right.
happening, it
Because
still
that's what's
has to
happened.
happen. It
Right.
still happens. But it changes. It's, first of all, if you want to just like figure out like what the span of time the movie takes place in,
right.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a journey in itself. Like, what is the span of time that the movie
Right.
takes place in?
Uh, 5 days to a week, something like that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And
I
the
know
whole
that
opening scene, when does that take place?
that takes place. Yeah, I want to say it has to be. It has to be somewhere along the lines of 4 to 5 days, because one day everything is sort of happening,
Uh-huh.
and by time, coincidentally, they're going back in time.
Yes.
I think this is the part where like a lot of people are gonna miss it.
Yeah.
He's on the same ship that he's on going in
Yes.
the beginning. He's
Yes.
coming back on the same ship,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. They're
And
going
it's
in.
like,
Yep.
and it's that sort of idea that like it's basically you're watching the story from his point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if time's going one way, by
Yes.
the time you get to a certain point, it overlaps going back the other way.
Yes.
You know? So I want to say 3 to 5 days.
Who knows?
Who knows, right?
Christopher Nolan might know. Theoretically, he might know.
Right.
But we're getting into the nitty gritty, and
Right.
I don't want people to lose the fact that there are a bunch of guns. John David Washington looks cool as fuck.
Yes.
It's like the scenery, the adventures, where they are. We're all over the world.
Right.
India looks dope as fuck. Like, all of these
Yeah.
different things are happening. All of the things that you will find in a Bond movie, in a Mission Impossible movie, happen.
Right. The shots are
Except it's not
amazing.
as simple as bad guy, good guy, good guy almost dies, but kills bad guy towards the end. That is not what happens.
Right.
That is
Exactly.
not what happens. Because none of this shit is linear. None of it.
Right. And that's the reason why I love the fact that he used the word protagonist instead of like I'm the hero.
Protagonist.
You know, like I'm doing the best I can with what I got. And even that is not enough because I don't know. You know, like
I
that's
don't
basically what he's saying.
know.
He's like, I have no clue. You know? How many minutes are we in at this point?
Well, I don't know because we started I want to say like 12 minutes.
Okay, cool. So at some point we got to give the spoilers label because we're about to spoil the hell out of this
We're going to
movie.
spoil the fuck out of this. All right, you know what? So let's do this out of order. Let's give our score. Yes, let's give them the score now.
We go do the tenet of our episode. Okay, I like it. All right, so as far as cinematically, I think the movie is amazing. The shots are amazing.
Yep.
Every scene, his mind works differently, and he's getting every shot and every detail that he needs. As far as that, I'm going to give him easily maybe a 4.5. As far as storyline, for the average person, I'm going to say that this is a 3 because it's going to be so difficult for people who are just so used to and so stuck in certain ways to grasp the movie. So at that, I'm going to give it 3.25. I'm gonna average it out to 3.25.
I got it.
3.75. Sorry.
I gotta give it a score based off of my enjoyment.
Okay.
It's a fucking 5, dog.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's a 5, and this is why I'm gonna give it a 5. Listen, fuck all the people who don't want to think when they go to the theater. Okay, but this is the disclaimer. If you need to leave a movie understanding every single thing that happened in it, just stop going to see Christopher Nolan films.
Right.
He's not the guy for you. Right. I don't need to leave knowing everything that happened in it. I want cinema to do what this does, which is kind of create questions and create interest and intrigue in these other topics. Like,
definitely.
This is a marketing ploy for physics. Like, if you like. I mean, I want to read more about this.
If you need to learn, go learn.
Go learn because this is like, wow. Yeah. And to think about like his story of creating this movie, which is kind of a similar timeline of, when he was doing Inception. He said he's been working on this for 10 years. Right. And obviously no one's going to give you the money to create a movie like this, and he couldn't do this without a budget like this. But working on this for 10 years and this idea and, beating down, I'm pretty sure it's beautiful because there's two things that's happening. There's the story of the protagonist that we're watching, and we become the protagonist because every time he learns something, we learn something.
Right.
We learn. We're him. We are literally in this journey as him, as he learns, as things open up to him. So everything that gets explained to him about this world gets explained to us. And it just sets that tone. Like that scene. And we're just going to start breaking down scenes. This is the spoiler, guys. Listen, if you haven't seen this movie, pause this right now and then come back.
Right.
Because we're going to start talking about when he's shooting the gun, which they probably seen in the trailer.
This is the spoiler part.
This is the spoiler part. This is the spoiler part. Just
bye,
go, guys.
See y'all later.
Bye. But all of our people who watch the movie, the gun when he's shooting the gun, and second watch. I watched how many times, because the first thing he gets taught, he says, the only thing that I have for you was when he's on the boat. The guy's like, the only thing that I have for you is a gesture and a phrase. Tenet. Okay. I watched the second time how many times people did the gesture and the phrase, and they just fit it in. When he goes and meets the Indian lady in Mumbai, he does it, but he does it inconspicuously he's holding something in his hand, and he does it inconspicuously.
When he has the gun?
Yes, when he has the gun.
And he goes...
I was like, oh, Christopher Nolan, thank you. And you seen that in the first time. I did not notice that, how many times they keep using the gesture, because it's like, the nuggets are there. They're constantly there. And then on the second watch, I don't know if you noticed, we get introduced clearly to the colors red and blue towards midway in or towards the end. I don't even know if it's like maybe like when there's an hour left.
Right.
But the whole movie has red and blue throughout it. People are wearing red and blue outfits.
Hmm.
Even John David, a lot of his hues of his clothing from the beginning are in blue. So like all of these are nuggets to let us know. Plus, I, it's just like it's just so much. It's just so much. It's so mind boggling how a person can put this all together in their head
Right.
to create something that that actually works. Like they were talking about I was watching an interview with John David Washington and Robert Pattinson, and they were talking like they couldn't remember what direction they were going. So it was like, on this take, they're asking him, and they're like, he knows the answers. Like Christopher
Hmm.
Nolan knows the answers, and the fight scenes, dog.
Yo, the fight scenes.
I'm
It.
like, thinking simply. I'm like, did they like? Is this just like on rewind? I'm finding out, John. They actually choreographed the fight scenes in reverse.
Hmm. That's
It's
crazy.
crazy. So imagine like you had to learn what it feels like to pull,
Punch back,
pull
pull a
back,
punch back.
pull a
Yeah.
punch back.
Yeah. That's. I was watching. I was just like, and you know me, I'm like hypothesizing throughout the whole movie. All right, I like this has to be, or this is going, and especially like if you catch like the little pieces in which you can start putting the puzzle together.
Yes,
So like when it started going backwards, then I was just like, oh, this is that, or this is that, or this is going on here.
yes,
So I definitely didn't catch the whole him driving the car in the middle part. Like that was something I was just like, oh, all right. And this is when it was just like, now I gotta try to remember all little details.
yes,
So when they got to the airport,
yeah,
I noticed that when he was putting on his gear and he had the wound going backwards,
yes,
um, when Robert Pattinson was leaving, he didn't have the rest of his gear on. So I was just like, oh, this has to be when they're fighting the two guys, but
got you.
backwards, Robert Pattinson has to be doing something else. But where is he at that time? So that's when I was just started to
Yes,
piece everything. So
yes. And they
yeah,
give you that little clip when he grabs the mask off the guy and he looks at him and then he lets him go. It's like, what is
right.
that? So you realize there's how many John Davids in that scene? There's three,
Uh,
right?
right. There's three because the thing about the machine is it kind of slows, I guess, the time down because every time you see the machine, you see someone who's capable of seeing themselves go
Yes,
forward at the
yes,
same time.
yes.
So it's just like you kind of witnessing like the peace, and
Because he
that's
was
why that.
fighting himself. John David fought
Mhm.
himself, and then Rob Pattinson pulled the mask off of John David.
Right.
So there's three John Davids going on at the same. Yo, I'm like,
So the machine kind of creates some sort of overlap
yes,
that fractions off seconds,
yes.
basically.
And
So
because
yeah,
there's more than one, there's one in the hangar at the what do they call it, the Freeport. Does that
right.
really exist? Is that like a real thing where you can
Um,
tax free have
Honestly,
art?
I've heard stuff like that
Yeah,
where there's a transition through, but I mean, I didn't know that there was like a facility of that maximum level. So,
that's
but I
crazy.
mean, it makes sense, you know.
Yeah, because it hasn't been actually because the land of an airport is not.
Basically, the land,
Yeah,
like whatever's behind security is not considered
no,
the territory of the country, if that
no,
makes sense.
yeah.
Right. Different rules and regulations determine that. Yeah. But it's the genius of it, you know.
What was that boat? What was that sailboat?
Oh, yo, competitive sailing. I guess that's
Yes,
like, yeah,
I've
that's
never seen
crazy.
that type though. I've seen competitive sail. I've never seen that. Was like,
Yeah.
I mean, just think about all of the things and all of the things they had to learn about just to make this movie. Like, if you're John David or Robert Pattinson, like having to learn how to
Let me see.
do the sailing and like and fight and all these different things. Like, this is it's just crazy.
Right. What? So, how did you feel? Like, I'm gonna try to break stuff down. How did you feel about? John David's acting.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. I thought he was super smooth.
Yes.
I thought he was super cool. I think he got it. It felt like obviously his father, and I don't want to make it seem like that was he was just giving his father's performance. It was just the smoothness that he got that just feels like it's there. But the way he delivers his lines, it feels like John David. It feels like
Right.
him. It feels when I watched this, and I had to obviously you put it up against other spy type of films, and it doesn't come across like a Born Identity or like a Mission Impossible. It feels like a James Bond film, but Daniel Craig. It feels like that Bond. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like the old Bonds. It feels like
There's
present
realism there.
realism, present
Hmm.
spy. Like I feel like John David's story is not boarding school John David. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his character is like picked from I don't know, like some school in Chicago. Like I don't like I
Right.
don't know, like he went from high school to being a Marine, and then from a Marine, and then getting recruited into the CIA type of situation. So there was like an
He,
edge.
he's the Will Smith Men in Black type.
There it is.
Difference in structure
That's it.
from what's expected.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
And he's just uber talented.
Super.
So
The
um,
physical, the fighting,
yeah.
fantastic,
Yes. Definitely.
fantastic. I heard Christopher Nolan was talking about why he chose John David Washington. He was saying, him being he's an American footballer and what he's able to do with his body. And then I was like, wow, like I'm watching like this dude's running like full speed ahead with these guns,
Hmm.
like doing like this was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They jumped off
Definitely.
of buildings, got pulled up buildings. They said like I couldn't get out there. I'd be like, Chris, like I need a break. Like another take.
All right, what we filming the next time? In 2 hours? Wait, what? Yeah.
What? You got B12? Anybody got B12? I need B12.
Yeah. Oh man. How did you like Robert Pattinson?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm
I,
becoming a fan. I'm every time I watch him, I'm erasing Twilight out of my like
Thank
it
you.
almost did happen. This is
That's
not
exactly
the
what I'm
same
thinking.
person. It almost didn't happen. Like
Yeah.
watching this and then Good Times, I'm
Good
like,
time. Yeah.
this man could perform.
Right. He's an actor.
He's an
Okay.
actor.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know what the female lead her name is, but
I don't know either.
yeah.
The only thing I didn't like is she was a lot taller than John David, and it made me
She was a
uncomfortable.
lot taller than everybody.
It made me
She's
uncomfortable.
she's literally the tallest person in the movie.
She's
Like
the tallest person in the movie,
she's
except for
taller than
that
all
crazy
three
looking
guys.
Russian dude. The
Oh,
crazy looking. That was it.
they looking eye to
She
eye. The
is
two of them.
taller than everybody. She's taller
Yeah.
than everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the villain. Like great
Fantastic.
portrayal. Like and like I always tell you, I feel like the best villain is the villain who thinks that what he's doing is still right,
Yes.
and this is like class act. Like
But we
he
still
believes
don't
in what
know
he's
who the
doing.
real villains are. Think about it. We don't know who tasked him with the
Uh-huh.
job from the future to do this.
Right.
We don't know.
You're right.
We like who is this all like why?
Uh,
Who do you think?
I don't know. I got the other side I think covered though.
Okay.
I got the whole tennis side covered.
The whole Tenet side is covered.
Yeah.
It's I think the whole Tenet side feels that's why I said Terminator. If that's the John Connor type of
Yeah.
situation, sending back except he sent himself.
Right.
He sent
So I'm gonna send you down a rabbit hole real quick
yep.
because I feel like these things were left open, just like Inception. Like you feel like things were left open for a reason.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I thought like throughout the movie.
Yep.
Right. The first thing is, I think John David died. I think that when he dies in the beginning, I think
Yeah.
that's when he dies. That's the end. That's him dying.
That it
because the first thing he talks about is about multiple dimensions and
Yeah.
the shift from one consciousness to the next
Uh
consciousness.
huh.
And he was speaking about that when he was in the bed. So I
Yep.
felt like that may be the reversal of one of his deaths, but in back when he's going backwards. He's just feeling it at that point because that's when it actually happens. That makes sense? In that line, that structure line, he's not dying,
Uh
but
huh.
that whatever tenet is going backwards, that's when that one dies. That
Got
makes
you.
sense? Yeah.
Got you. So the only reason why that blows me away because they capture a piece of the device.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting a piece of device and he doesn't know what it is.
Right. But remember, he's all getting this whole like, yo, we had to rebuild your face and everything. And I
Yes,
was like, wait,
yes.
what? I was like, wait, how? Wait, hold
Is he
on,
a
what?
part of getting all the pieces of the device? Are they?
So you're right. So this is the whole thing. I believe that. All right. So he's given all the pieces, like not the pieces for that of this device. He's given all the pieces to go start Tenet. So I think that he's the one who begins it. That's the
Got
first
you.
thing because he's the only person who really knows both sides at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else is just getting fed information from people who are being fed information.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Part.
And then, all right. So then the second part is, I think that Robert Pattinson's character is Max, her
It is the
son.
son. I believe so
Right.
too. It
And
definitely
I
is
was
the
just
son.
like, it just makes so much more sense where, he recruited him. He's been watching him the whole time because he doesn't want anybody to come after him. So the only person he could really trust is going to be this kid when
Yes.
he grows up,
Yep.
you know? So I kind of was just like going down the rabbit hole, like, what else? What else could have happened? So,
But because this is why I got to go see it the third time because I specifically want to hear the conversation when they're talking about the opera house.
mhm.
John David has a conversation with the Russian dude about the opera house, and it was Russian dudes that captured him and killed him. Well, not killed him, but that's probably the information he didn't want to get out. Now that I'm
Right.
thinking about it, like
So did he give them the information to go get him earlier in the movie, basically? That makes sense?
damn, this is blowing me because they say like obviously they're thinking like he's a part of the CIA,
Right.
but is he recruiting himself at different points in his own life? Like, did he recruit? Did that actually linearly happen? Like, that's what I thought linearly happened. I thought he went back
Hmm.
from the future. He had himself be recruited to Tenet earlier,
Okay.
and that's when it happens with that the CIA capsule pill. But the
Okay.
guy says something specific. He says, "Welcome to the afterlife." So was he being
Hmm.
facetious or was he being honest?
Right. That's the crazy part, man. I mean, I'm
But
stuck.
is the reason why they can move because they aren't really existing anymore?
Right.
Because when I first watched the trailer, I thought it was going to be some type of spiritual thing because he says like welcome to the afterlife.
Hmm.
So I thought like people who died in the field were able almost like some old guard shit, but they were immortal. Like but
Right.
people like who died in the field, but he was
Uh,
already on a mission. Even like what was his? He was already doing something different from his team at that point because they were like, get the Americans,
mhm.
get the Americans, and so that team that was in that truck wasn't a part of that whole flow of everybody because he almost got killed multiple times. I mean, the one thing that I got the second time was that was obviously Robert Pattinson that saved his life in the opera house.
Right. Definitely. See, so that's why I wonder.
That him didn't know that at that time.
Right.
But obviously they sent him back. They sent Robert Pattinson there to help him at that moment
Right.
because he probably would have died at that moment.
But that's why I'm thinking that, like, whatever he finds out later on, him telling Robert Pattinson in the future,
Yeah.
he knows that going backwards, these are already his mission. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So then when he meets up with him at this point, he's already going forward again. And that's why at the end of the movie, Robert Pattinson is going to go
Go
back
back.
again.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes, because
Yeah.
because of that phrase, he's like, this is the end of a beautiful friendship for
But
me,
it's
but
the
beginning for
beginning for
you.
you. Right. And I think that that's when John David puts the two and two together, that this is going to be him, Max, in the future,
Yeah.
possibly, you know?
Now, is it that they have to continue doing it? Like, do they have to continue these missions over and over to stop it? Like, is it a continuous thing?
Well, see, that's the whole thing. I don't, that block of time is basically the same. And then whatever's done is done. You know, like it's weird. Did you watch, what was that movie that was about time on Netflix where one was going forward and his granddaughter was going backwards?
It's a show.
No, it was a movie, Netflix original. It was pretty good. Came out last year. I think we may have done a thing on it. I can't even remember.
I don't know it.
But it's that sort of idea where the end of Robert Pattinson's life is going to be in the past. So he's already chosen to go that way. If he ever decided to go forward and try to get back to the future, like he'll age out by then. So it doesn't matter, you know? Because your life doesn't stop. It's just that you're on this linear part of time. That's it.
And it still requires time to travel back. Right. Like they were traveling on the ship in reverse.
Right.
Because they don't travel in time, the universe does. You can reverse the what do they call it? Inverse entropy. Inverted entropy. Right. So it reverses everything so that it's almost like you can get on a reverse treadmill and then ride that treadmill backwards.
Right. So you don't stop living. It's just that you're traveling in time one way or another.
Why do they have to do it on water though? Why does water help?
It just looks cooler.
It sure did the way that.
Yeah. I was like, okay, all right. Yeah. I don't know. Well, you see how hard it was for him to drive backwards. So
crazy.
Yeah. And I guess the whole thing with shipping containers is like, now you can make this oxygen atmosphere.
Yes, you can.
So that's kind of what we got to see.
Yeah, because if everything is in reverse, you'd be breathing out the oxygen and taking in the CO2, and obviously that would kill you. So
look at you. All right.
Come on, son. I was in there. I was in there. I was on the edge of my seat. It was crazy because like I was looking around and I'm like, does anybody else like watching what I'm watching? Because this shit is crazy.
Right.
Like, why y'all relax? Like, please cuddle. Stop, couple. Stop cuddling. This is not the time. This is not the time. Like, Christopher Nolan is giving us. I literally think that these movies are gonna go down in history of like. These are moments where, like, James Cameron and those guys like Ridley Scott, and they made these moments and changed the way we looked at what we can make. You know what I mean? Avatar, moment, Terminator 2 type of moment, Matrix type of moment where, like, when you seen Neo do that thing, everybody's talking about that. And it's like, Christopher Nolan, he has people fighting backwards. like they're fighting in reverse with gunshots and everything. And like, my gosh, like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant.
And the thing about I don't think that people realize, like, especially blocking with the director.
Yeah.
So imagine that the fight scenes, right? They're done multiple times, right?
Yes.
And the first thing is he's shooting them forward in one direction,
yes,
and then backwards in a total opposite direction.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, and when you're watching it from the different perspective angle.
Dog, when he slid for the gun and then you watch him slide in the different, I'm like, yo, that's why it looked like that when he was sliding. Oh, I was like, damn. This is who I feel bad for, the continuity person. Because how do you
they're not getting nothing right.
How do you do continuity for Christopher Nolan?
Right.
How do you like? You just make sure all the pieces are there, but you can't. I mean,
Who does he have that same guy still editing for him? I want to check and see who's
I
like.
don't know. It's gotta
Like,
be. It's gotta
right.
be. I think it's the same editor
Yeah.
from Dunkirk.
Right. All
But
right. Yeah.
and the music, like it's an adventure, and
Yeah.
it's piercing. Like this one was like really, it was like, and I'm like,
Yeah. Did you go see it in Dolby?
nah, I don't think it was Dolby. I want to see it in
yo,
IMAX, dog. I got to see it in IMAX.
I wouldn't have seen it in Dolby. I'm talking about my heart was shaking, my feet were. I was out here like, oh, okay, oh shoot, what's going on? Yeah,
dog. And then you see, this is the messed up thing. You see this big jug. I started drinking this gallon of water a day thing. I should have started after the Christopher Nolan release.
How many times did you go to the bathroom?
Dog, it was like, and I'm running to the bathroom. I'm running, and like, I try to like, because I understand movies a little bit. I try to like go where I know, like, okay,
it's a lull.
Yeah, it ain't much going to happen here.
There's no lull.
There's no lull.
Yo, and the crazy part is, because when I went and saw it, I was like, I've got to go to the bathroom, and I've never experienced this. And I thought I was like, I should have asked him some tips or something. I ran to the bathroom. I was like, hopefully I caught it, and I think I caught it like right when they're having the conversation through the glass, and I was like,
oh, okay.
I was just like, all right, I know it's going to be real big after this, so I gotta go.
Big. Right? Yeah. So wait, and then you remember when she's at the end, when we see the end, and he's cleaning up loose ends, right? And she looks over to the vehicle. She does that earlier in the movie. Right. She looks over, but we don't know what she's looking at.
Right.
So it's like, is it happening again?
No. So this is the whole thing. Remember, when he gave her the phone, he said, if anything looks out of place, call this number. And remember, early in the movie, that's when she turns and he's there.
Got you. Yes.
So she thinks that he already got the message. But it wasn't for him. It was for him later on.
So there might be two hymns at that time.
Right, because he's already there from what we seen when she first went to go see him.
Yeah.
And he's telling her, like, introduce me.
Yes.
And this one is from him. Obviously, he went back in time far enough to go forward the vehicle, again. To go in, right.
Oh. My wife thought I was crazy. I was like, babe, I gotta go see this again. I have to. Like, I couldn't even have this conversation without like feeling like I had more to give. And I don't have any more to give. Like, yo, you don't understand, guys. But that is a good thing. This is a good thing. Right. Every movie's not supposed to be like this. Some of them need to be wham, bam, here you go. Right. Boom. Just enjoyment. But this is a spy movie for a reason. And this spy movie is supposed to take you on this roller coaster. And damn, his action mind is just like brilliant. It's great, dog.
Definitely. Yo, let me know when you're gonna go see it again. Maybe we'll catch.
Yes, dog. I want to see what we could do in IMAX. You know what? There's a movie that I want to see. Have you seen Train to Busan?
Oh,
Train to Busan. The sequel is out.
Sequel just came out. Yeah,
but it's only showing in Boston.
Really?
Only showing in Boston.
Well, we could do. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to catch these movies in the middle of the week. I don't want to go when everybody's going.
Word. And like that's one of those movies that we probably should do a review on that. Like I mean, a lot of people won't see it, but I think it's going to be an internet thing where a lot of people
cult classic.
A cult classic. Because I watched Train to Busan with my wife and she enjoyed that shit too.
Yeah. So I'm down for it.
But Tenet, guys, Tenet.
Go see it. Go see it.
You gotta go see it. If you're a Christopher Nolan fan, you gotta go see it. If you're a movie fan, you gotta go see it. If you're a spy movie fan, you gotta go see it. If you enjoyed Inception a little bit, You definitely have to go see it.
If you got Interstellar, you could do it.
Oh, if you this is
If you
right up
saw
your
it, yeah,
alley. This
yes,
is right up your alley.
yeah. It's just I feel like so Inception gave that like all right, people went to go see Interstellar.
Yeah,
Cool. It was like it got a little difficult at the end.
yeah,
If you went and saw Interstellar, you got all the way to the end. You was like, oh, that was awesome. Go
yep,
see this. It'll do the same thing, you know.
yes, yes.
So it's a mind fuck in itself. So
Okay, we can't leave without talking about the last battle.
okay.
The last battle is
Uh-huh.
already something that you need a cliff note for,
Yeah, yeah.
because we realize they've built an army
Uh,
to go forward and
and back
reverse.
right
But
at the
who are
same
they
time. Yeah.
fighting? They're fighting
Insurgents. I'm assuming that they're like whoever this Russian
the
crew
Russia
is.
dude. He sent them to go get whatever
Right.
this is there.
And Robert Pattinson is on the reverse, is on the
Yes.
backwards. So this is where I felt the symbolism, where it's like
Uh-huh.
where you see John David going forward
Yes.
and Robert Pattinson going backwards. These are the actual timelines of these two characters that we don't realize earlier.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Robert Pattinson is already in a previous time from his normal time.
But do you think that we're supposed to believe that he reversed it again when he's looking down at some of the soldiers going in and coming back out of the turnstile thingy thing?
Mm-hmm.
Are we supposed to believe that he reversed himself again? Because you remember John David asked him, he said, "Doesn't your team need you?" And
Right. He said,
"I'll get them." Basically, like I'll get them at another moment.
right. So I mean, I think that at that point we're finally seeing that duplicity where it's
Yeah.
like you can be everywhere you need to be at one time.
Yes.
There's no worry. But this was the important part where he's now realizing he's got to help them going forward.
Yeah. And
So
they
that's
all have
why,
their own mission. Like even if you
yes,
had an original mission, your mission could be to divert from that
right.
original mission just to get to that.
It was wild.
It's
Wow.
wild.
That's that, just that scene was just like you trying to, all right, who's going forward? Then you, all right, what's in reverse? And like
Yes.
you're trying to turn it.
You try to bring it together.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're supposed. I think it's simultaneously happening. Like
Right.
everything is happening at one time, and that's where the connection to Interstellar. I think this is an extension of Interstellar, where we're supposed to understand. You remember when he was in that he was behind the bookshelf type of situation when he was stuck in that
That fifth dimension.
Yes, because he went into the black hole or something like that, and he
Yeah.
was able to see himself in different time periods
In the same
simultaneously.
structure.
It was
Right.
all around him, so time
Right.
was happening all at the same time. It was all
Right.
one time. It was all happening.
Right.
Everything happen.
Right.
Ah!
See? All right. I hope that people got it. I hope people get it. I hope people continue to get it.
I hope people just at least try to get it. That's the fun. The
I
fun
hope,
is to try.
I hope that they do a sequel to Tenet and it's a Western.
Oh,
Something. It's going to look like Back to the Future,
yo,
Something.
just try, and just sit down. First of all, enjoy it at the action level,
Right.
and then just try to pick up some stuff. And then this is what movies are, why they're special. It's because this is creating conversations. I wanted to buy the DVD right away. I'm like,
Right.
when is this DVD coming out? And I know this is going to be such a big film. The DVD ain't coming out for a while, but I want it on
Right.
4K, Blu-ray, whatever. And I'm paying the regular, whatever the price is. I'm gonna pre-order this motherfucker because like I gotta have it. Like at this point, I feel like this may be the first collection that I finally finalize is my Christopher Nolan, because there's something about the achievements that he's making. Even if I don't make anything at this level, $200 million, I like the idea of pushing the boundaries of what's already existing. And pushing the boundaries of independent cinema is something that I'm interested in doing. And it'd be great for us to do as loose cannons. Um, let's close out.
All right, good. I'm cool.
Yo,
Go
this
see
was
it.
great. It was a
Right?
mind bender.
Yes.
We had fun. It was nice to get back to the theater. Wait, did you have refreshments at your theater?
Yeah, I didn't get anything though.
Mine was shut down.
Really? They were just
Shut
like
down.
movie.
It's a
Welcome.
movie. That's it.
Movie. What's
That's
up?
it. That was it. But excuse me. I'm no Justin, no peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because we sit down and we fire off our opinion on today's pop culture,
What else?
politics,
What else?
movies and TV, and how they all intersect. And this was a special episode because this is dropping on Friday, guys.
Yo.
So you got 3 episodes this week, yo.
Word.
4 episodes this week because we dropping the Lovecraft Country. So stay tuned for that, yo. Lovecraft
Dang.
Country review, episode 3.
Okay.
Till then, we out.
Peace.
Peace. Bro, I had so much fun watching that movie.
Yo, me too, yo.